It's my pleasure to call to order the City Council special meeting of January 31st, 2017. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Go.
Here.
Vice Mayor Smith.
I'm here.
Councilmember Rivera. Councilmember Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Weir. Councilmember Sullivan.
Here.
And Councilmember Parlier. Here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
We have 3 public statements this evening, or this afternoon, and our first public statement is Robert Braley.
To comply with the Brown Act, we'll receive public statements now. Please limit your comments to the closed session items only at this time. All statements are given. I made a mistake there. Please limit your comments just to the items on this agenda only. All statements are given a 3-minute time limit, 15 minutes per subject. Go ahead, Mr.
My name is Robert Braley. I'm here to speak on the agenda item and just want to note that this meeting is a disgrace, and it was obviously set one day at the bare minimum to meet the legal requirements with very short notice, and it just goes to show the disdain that this city and this council has for its citizens and their ability to prepare and discuss items. There is no reason for this to be scheduled at this time and date when a single item agenda couldn't be held during a normal council meeting at 5 o'clock when more people would be available. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker.
Terry Maxwell.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Terry Maxwell. I'm a resident of the Westchester area. Mayor Go and council members, thank you for allowing us all to speak here. I've got one piece of information that's being handed out to you, and I'll refer to it in just a minute. Now, I'm not under any delusion as to what the outcome of this meeting is going to be, but I do feel that there are some important things to point out. You know, in September, I believe it was, the city asked if they could move forward on Section 1 and Section 2. And let me remind you, Section 1 and 2 are the couplet, or the interchange at 99 and 24th Street, as well as Oak Street and 24th Street. The citizens group said, you know what, knock yourselves out. We do not have a problem with you doing those two. As a matter of fact, we agree with it. To this date, as far as I know, nothing's been done, and you've had several months. That is really interesting, because here we are today at a special meeting that had to be called with only a 24-hour notice because we have to move forward with destroying a bunch of houses in my neighborhood. Unfortunately, this whole conversation has degenerated into a who is going to win, and not a search for the truth. Winning has nothing to do with integrity and righteousness. The city's population must grow at 3.5% to 4% to pay for and to meet the forecasts for both 24th Street and Centennial Corridor. 3.5% to 4%. Now, those are not figures that I picked out of the air or that I came up with. Those are figures that are actually in the EIRs for both 24th Street as well as Centennial Corridor. The population for Bakersfield in the last 7 years has barely made 1%. Now that goes to the article that I have given all of you. It has to do with job growth in the Central Valley. They took 150 populations in the United States of America. Bakersfield is 148th out of 150 at finding a job. We're faced currently with oil at all-time lows. I'm sorry, not all-time lows, but recent lows. We're faced with agriculture that is struggling because of the groundwater situation as well as the water situation, and that's not going to change, even though we look like we're getting plenty of rain this year. The city is about to waste $30 million. City staff would have you believe that the citizen group is the people who have been wasting your money. and I want the public to know right now, the Citizens Group has been trying to save the citizens $30 million. You know, everything can be turned on its ear. So when you hear that, I think that you have to keep in mind there's another side to that story, because the truth is we're about to waste $30 million. I know that because I have read every document, either legal, every EIR, every draft EIR, every FEIR, and the REIR. I've read them all. I know what's in them. And there's plenty of information, if you take the time to read them, to not substantiate what you're about to do.
Mr. Maxwell, we're out of time already.
We're at time. Can I bring my statement to a close?
Yes, go ahead.
At this time, I think that somebody should go back to the county and ask them if they really want to have their $40 million back, because they're faced with a budget shortage that means next year they will run out of money for their roads. And the roads in the county will continue to deteriorate. If they knew that we were doing what we were doing with this $30 million, I think they'd probably take it back. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Vanessa Van Del, 24th Street.
Welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Vanessa Van Del, resident of Westchester and spokesperson for the Citizens Against the 24th Street Widening Project. As some of you may know, you have been seeing me speak here for going on close to 5 years now. I have dedicated and devoted myself to stopping this unnecessary, unneeded waste of $30 million of taxpayer money. And I completely concur with what Mr. Maxwell just said. We are trying to save the city money. It is not our goal to spend unnecessary money. The city has chosen to hire not one, but two outside counsel to fight us, and that apparently is very expensive. So what I'm primarily here to say is that I think it's important for you to know that when I started reading the EIRs and all the separate studies 5 years ago, I found something that if all of you had read it, you may perhaps have found it too. And if you start this project next month, the city may be in violation of an executive order. Let me give you a little backstory. In reading all of the EIRs and the separate studies, I was trying to find the number of trees that were going to be killed in the construction of this widening project. I couldn't find that number. I called the TRIP office, spoke with Janet Wheeler, posed the question to her, how many trees are going to be killed? She very politely got back with me about 2 weeks later. The answer is 242 trees, mature trees. Why I'm giving you this backstory is this, and I'm reading this from a separate study from the EIR. Under avoidance, minimization, and mitigation measures, in order to avoid effects to nesting birds, project construction would comply with the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, MBTA. This is an executive order number 13186. Any native or exotic vegetation removal or tree trimming activities would occur outside of the nesting bird season. The bird season is from February 15th through August 31st. So I'm putting the city on notice that if they begin construction, they could possibly be violating an executive order. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Consent calendar item 3A, 24th Street Improvement Project.
Thank you. Mr. Fiddler?
Honorable Mayor and council members, this afternoon you'll be asked to approve a bid, accept a bid, and approve contract for demolition interior demolition for the demolition of Phase 1 of the 24th Street project. In addition, you're being asked to reject bids for houses on the south side of 24th Street. Staff has set up the Ted, if you want to bring up the plan set. Staff has been working towards a phasing plan for the demolition of these houses, or the removal of the houses, in order to widen the 24th Street. As you can see on the screen, Phase 1, there are 5 homes on the north side and the east end of 24th Street. These 5 homes, 5 orange homes are in Phase 1. The 3 green and 1 blue on the southeast corner are the ones that are being proposed to be rejected this afternoon. To give you a sense of the phasing plan that we're initiating is Phase 1 was originally awarded, or I'm sorry, bids were received in November 22nd, 2016. However, due to the appellate court issuing a temporary stay on the project, these bids were delayed for award until just recently on January 19th. The appellate court lifted that temporary stay and allowed the city to move forward. So today, we're asking that we go ahead and approve that first Phase 1 so we can proceed with the demolition of those 5 homes, reject the 4 homes on the south side, and then just to let you know as well that yesterday we issued advertised for Phases 2 and 3. Phase 2 is the blue to the left of the screen, and 3 is the reddish purplish color in the middle of the screen. Those are currently advertising. We advertise for 21 calendar days. We will accept bids. We anticipate those 2 projects coming back before the council on March 8th. Staff has been diligent in doing all the mitigation requirements as part of the environmental document, and again, we'll continue to proceed forward with all the mitigation measures required for demolition of those homes, including the removal of trees. So the other dark purple house there's been a lot of questions in regards to that. That's the house to the second to the right. That is a house that we plan to pick up and relocate to face Bay Street. It's a nice architectural building. There was a lot of concern from the neighborhood that that building be saved. So as part of this process, we are also working to save that house, have it relocated to Bay Street and restored in that ultimate location on a remnant parcel from some of the parcels that are being demolished. The houses in the green that you see on the south side, we have put together a marketing plan for those houses. They will be, we'll attempt to sell those houses for relocation to another outside of the project limits. We currently expect that to be advertised mid to late February. This will give the opportunity for someone to purchase those homes and relocate them to a parcel outside of the project area. I'd be happy to answer any other questions if you'd have any.
Thank you, Mr. Fiddler. Seeing no questions, Vice Mayor?
Does any council member wish to remove the item for discussion on the consent calendar? Seeing none, then I will make the motion to approve consent calendar item A.
You have a motion. Please cast your vote.
Motion is approved with Councilmember Rivera absent.
Thank you. Next item, please, Madam Clerk.
Closed session, conference with legal counsel, potential litigation, 2 matters.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Motion to adjourn to closed session.
We are adjourned. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. There were 2 potential items under 4A, and in both items, staff was given direction. Thank you.
Seeing that there is nothing else, we are adjourned. I don't